What's up interweb, Raikkonen here and welcome to my PPL Division 2 Season 3 Week 8 battle against Ellie and the Accrington Stantler. This is going to be a good match. Brace yourselves for this one guys, because this is a really good match. Links are down below in the description to my opponent, make sure to go check those out. She's a really great battler. And I'm really excited to get this commentary underway, if I'm honest. If you haven't seen my team builder video, make sure to go down in the description, there'll be a link to that as well if you want to find out more, an in-depth look into my team as to why I've brought what I've brought. But a real quick look at my team that I have brought my Assault Vest Heliolisk, my physically defensive Cresselia, my Banded Entei, a partially physically offensive Mega Sableye, physically defensive Ferrothorn, and a Scarfed Garchomp. And we can see that my opponent Ellie has decided to bring to this game Hariyama, Zapdos, Starmie, Crocodile, Gardevoir, and Scolipede. So, some things there that, well, most of the stuff I was expecting. No Jellicent, which is quite nice for me. Excuse me. The Gardevoir, I need to scout what kind of set that thing is. The Crocodile I'm quite scared of. The Zapdos I need to figure out if it's offensive or not, and I need to figure out what kind of Hariyama that is, whether it's Guts or Thick Fat or something along those lines. Now, what I really wanted turn 1 was to get my Mega off with Mega Sableye, but I was very scared of her seeing that coming and leading with her Gardevoir, and I didn't really want that. So I decided instead to lead with my Heliolisk. I felt that was a nice middle. It does quite a lot of damage to most things on my opponent's side. I can Volt Switch on basically anything apart from the Crocodile, and if the Crocodile comes in I can see if it's Intimidate or Moxie. I gain some info, and I have various switches to make, so I figured it was my best lead overall. Before we get into the game though, massive thank you to who GM'd my team this week. Who GM'd my team this week? It was it Eric? I feel like it was Eric. Links will be down below in the description to Eric, who GM'd my team, and also to Carson, who recorded my match. Thank you both, you guys are awesome. And also, I didn't say this last week, but thank you to Kino for making the thumbnails for the PPL template thumbnails for all of us to use. They're amazing. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves, let's get into this game and let's see how things go. So, like I said, I'm going to lead with my Heliolisk, and Ellie decides to lead with her Scolipede. So, first turn, I'm like, you know what, let's just click Volt Switch, let's see what she wants to do here. If she's adamant, I'm going to outspeed her, so that'd be nice. I do outspeed her, and I'm going to get off a Volt Switch, and this does massive damage, which means she has a negative special defense nature. I didn't realize that at the time, though, but I'm going to go on out into my dedicated switcher, which is my Ferrothorn, because my Sableye hasn't Mega yet. And she goes for Spikes, and I'm like, okay, she probably doesn't want to lose her Scolipede right now, because she gets a speed boost, so I'm thinking Durable will knock it out. She knows that. She doesn't want to lose her Scolipede, so I'm going to go for Substitute, but she reveals the HP Fire on Scolipede, which is ridiculous. It does, like, less than half to my Ferrothorn, but memes, you know? I'm going to go for a Substitute, expecting the switch, so I'm pretty low right now, but now this allows me to take another HP Fire from the Scolipede. It will break my Substitute, but then I can knock it out with the Durable. I was debating going for Stealth Rocks here, but I figured, nah, there's a Scolipede in front of me, let's just knock it out. She's going to go for a subsequent HP Fire, and she's going to break my Substitute, and then I am just going to knock out the Scolipede with a Gyrable. So the Scolipede is out the way straight off the bat, which is amazing. So Ferrothorn, which was designed to take down the Scolipede, has already done its job. Awesome, just what I wanted. But now, in comes the Zapdos against me, and knowing Ellie, I know she has Heat Wave, and she knows I know it's going to have Heat Wave. We also see it has Pressure, amazing. So I expect her to overpredict here, and I stay in as she goes for Toxic as I get up my Rocks. Amazing. Rocks are really going to hinder the Zapdos. Obviously the Scolipede's dead, but it's just nice to get chip damage and everything. It's going to force a Starmie to spin, for example. Now, I'm expecting her to overpredict again, and she does. She goes for Toxic as I go for a Leech Seed, but I miss. I could have been really cheeky and go for a Substitute there, but I didn't really think it was worth it in that situation. But I'm thinking, is she bluffing? Does she even have Heat Wave? So I'm going to stay in again, but she actually does reveal the Heat Wave this time. And my Ferrothorn does go down to the Heat Wave, but like I said, I'm fine with that, because I've been able to take out the Scolipede, which was Ferrothorn's job. And I managed to get up Rocks in the process as well, which was nice. Now I'm going to bring in my Sableye, and I'm able to Mega up right now. Now, I predict her to go for a Volt Switch and switch on out into her Gardevoir. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Knock Off, because I'm expecting her to Volt Switch regardless, and one thing that I'm happy getting rid of anything's item, basically, because she doesn't have a Mega, so I'm just going to click knock off, and I knock off something's item. I don't care what it is, I'm going to knock off something's item. And she actually brings in the Gardevoir, which is exactly what I wanted. Because I'm going to click knock off, this is going to do big damage to this Gardevoir. It traces magic balance, I don't really care, because I go for knockoff right now. I'm physically offensive, that does a lot, and we knock off the leftovers. I can follow up with the Shadow Sneak, and this Gardevoir is gone. Done, finished, finito, bye-bye Gardevoir, it was nice knowing you. And that is exactly why I brought a physically offensive Sableye, and it worked to perfection. Now, in comes the Crocodile. This should have signaled to me straight away that this thing has Substitute, because there is no way she would bring it in, allowing it to get burned. She goes for a Substitute. I should have seen it coming, I didn't, it was a bad play on my part. I'm going to click Will-O-Wisp, and it's behind a Substitute. Now I'm thinking, behind a Substitute, it's probably going to have Bulk Up. That kind of scares me, we can see the leftovers as well. I only have one thing that can actually take a hit from this Crocodile right now, and that's weirdly Cresselia. Weird, right? So I'm going to go into it as she does reveal the Bulk Up. And now I'm like, okay, damage control at this point. I might have to sack 2 Mons here, but this Crocodile is not sweeping me, because I can break this Crocodile Substitute with an Energy Ball from Cresselia, I bring in Heliolisk, I can surf it, do big damage, and it's in range from Extreme Speed from Entei. I'm okay with that. She does reveal the Crunch, and she's going to do big damage to my Cresselia, even though I'm physically defensive. +1 Crunch doing a lot of damage, and I'm able to break her Substitute. She gets a meaningless defense drop, and I'm able to break her Substitute with an Energy Ball. I was debating going for Moonlight there, expecting the knockoff, but I'm very glad I didn't, because if I'd have gone for Moonlight, she would have got the defense drop on the Crunch, and I would have been in range from another one, and the Crocodile would have got away still behind the Substitute, and that would have been no bueno. But now I'm going to have to sack off my Cresselia to another Crunch, and that's exactly what happens here. Cresselia not doing much this match, but it did what it needed to. It stopped the Crocodile from becoming so threatening, so it still did a thing. Now, like I said, I'm going to bring in my Heliolisk, and I can do big damage to this Crocodile with Surf. I can't knock it out, but I can do like 60 to 70%, which will leave it in range from Extreme Speed from Entei, which is just what I want. So, I'm going to bring in my Heliolisk. I'm going to take a bit of Spikes damage, and I'm going to go for a Surf, but she does actually switch, fearing the Surf from that. She knew it wouldn't kill me, but she didn't want to take that much damage on her Crook, so she's going to bring in her Zapdos right now. She's going to take some Rocks, lovely 25% from Rocks, and I'm going to fire off a Surf. And this is going to do a decent little chunk to the Zapdos right now. Does a nice little bit of damage. And now at this point, I'm just going to fire off a Hyper Voice. I kind of want to see how much damage I can do to the Zapdos, because I'm thinking I might be able to 2-shot from this point. And we get a nice roll there. It's not quite enough to 2-shot, and she is going to go for a Toxic on my Heliolisk, which is a bit unfortunate, but it's not the end of the world. Now she gets a bit of lefties back. She's definitely not in range from another Hyper Voice, but I decide to just risk it and just go for the Hyper Voice here, half expecting her to go for the Heat Wave, not knowing that I'm Assault Vest, and try and get big damage off of my Heliolisk. So I'm going to go for a Hyper Voice. Don't quite knock her out, but she does go for the Roost right now, which is fine. Now I'm going to Volt Switch out, because obviously I'm not getting anywhere against the Zapdos, and my Heliolisk will just get warned from toxic damage. So I need to get out right now, so I'm just going to Volt Switch out against the Zapdos, and predicting her to Roost once again, I'm actually going to Volt Switch out into my Entei, because I want to get it in, and I want to click Sacred Fire against something, because it's going to do a lot of damage. I get a crit on the Volt Switch, which is awesome, wearing it down a little bit more, and I'm going to bring in my Entei like I said. Now, she is actually going to go for the Roost right now, which is awesome. I'm going to take a bit of Spikes damage once again, but she is going to go for the Roost and get back to a very nice amount of HP, but I still have a Banded Sacred Fire, and I know I'm going to outspeed the Zapdos because I know it's a defensive set, so it's going to have minimal speed investment. It's going to get a bit more lefties again, and she's going to get back to a nice amount of HP, but I still have a chance to take out the Zapdos anyway with this Banded Sacred Fire, and she does actually stay in. I go for the Sacred Fire. Can we knock out the Zapdos? Nope, but we get the burn, which is very nice. It's going to die on this turn, but she Volt Switches out, which means she does die to Rocks on entry, so if she wants to keep her Zapdos around, she needs to spin with her Starmie ASAP. So she's going to Volt Switch out, and she's going to go on out into her Starmie. Now, obviously, I do not want to be staying against Starmie. I want to keep my Entei. That Banded E-Speed could come in handy later. So what I'm going to do is I am going to switch on out, and I'm actually going to go into my Mega Sableye, because I can take a hit from this Starmie, and I don't want her spinning those Rocks away. If she's going to go for spin right now, I don't want that happening, so I'm going to spin block her by going into my Mega Sableye, as she does actually just go straight for the Hidden Power. She revealed, told me later that it was Hidden Power Fire for the Ferrothorn. Not really sure what she was predicting there. Maybe the Heliolisk if she didn't have Psyshock, who knows. But she's going to get some lefties back, which is nice, and she's going to go for a Scald here. and take some damage on my Megalovania. I don't get burnt as I go for Will-O-Wisp. I did not want that Crocodile switching in for free. If Crocodile switches in on me right now, it sets up on me all over again and there's nothing I can do about it. I cannot let that Crocodile switch in. Now I'm going to go for a double Willow, expecting her to... I'm either going to sack my Megalovania, which means Starmie stays in, Crocodile's not on the field, or it means Crocodile comes in and gets burnt. I had to click double Willow there, because if she'd have made the play expecting me not to Willow and gone into her Crocodile, then, you know, I would have been set up for it all over again, and it wouldn't have been good for me. Now I'm going to bring in my Heliolisk. Thinking this is a defensive set, I'm thinking I'm probably going to outspeed right now, and I'm going to click Volt Switch, but she is going to make the good play, and she's going to switch out her Starmie, and she is going to sack off her Zapdos to Rocks, which means Zapdos dies to Ferrothorn's Rocks, Ferrothorn getting another kill from the grave, which is awesome. So Ferrothorn getting 2 kills, and my Mega Sableye getting 1 so far. Going to take a little bit of toxic damage. Now she's going to bring in her Hariyama, and at this point, I'm actually going to pause it, because we're getting to the end game right now. Okay. So, Hariyama's in against my Heliolisk. I have Heliolisk, Garchomp, and Entei left, I'm pretty sure. Don't think I have anything else. Mega Sableye has died, Cresselia has died, and Ferrothorn's died. Yeah. So I've got Heliolisk, Garchomp, which is Scarfed, and my Entei left. Garchomp, I know guaranteed outspeeds everything on her team left, because nothing on her team is Scarfed. Garchomp guarantees outspeeds everything. Now what I really need for Garchomp to sweep, what I need is more damage on Crocodile, and I need more damage on the Starmie. Basically I need a bit more damage on everything. So what I decided on at this point, if I could get chip damage on everything with Garchomp, Entei could clean up with Extreme Speed. That was my thought process, but it's not looking good here, because what I'm going to have to do at this point is sack off my Heliolisk and just get as much damage as I can against this Hariyama. Get as much damage as I can with Heliolisk, and just kind of sack it. Then I'd have to bring in my Garchomp, because an E-Speed or a Sacred Fire, if it's thick fat, Sacred Fire wouldn't kill, so I couldn't risk it. So I'd have to bring in my Garchomp, click Outrage, and she can get an Intimidate with Crocodile, which means I won't be able to get the damage on Starmie, and then I'd have to go into Entei and potentially like crit her twice, so it's not looking good at this point. I'm not feeling too confident about my chances of winning. But I felt like that was my best course, honestly. I felt like that was my best course of action. My alternative route was to go get as much damage as I can on Hariyama, bring in my Entei, click Sacred Fire, but then she could just bring in the Starmie, knock out my Entei, and then I'm in the same spot with Garchomp against Crocodile and Starmie. So for differential sake, the thing that I had the best chance of getting the most mons killed was to do a move with Heliolisk here, get damage on the Hariyama, bring in my Garchomp, and just click Outrage and see what happens. Because I'm still not 100% sure what kind of set that Starmie is. I know it has leftovers, but I'm not 100% sure what kind of investment she has and what. So I'll have to see how much damage I can do to that thing. But let's get back into this game. Let's go. So, Hariyama comes in, takes rocks damage. I'm going to click Hyper Voice just in case she wants to pull a cheeky double into a Crocodile. I'm not going to risk the Thunderbolt. She is going to go for the Ice Punch. She's going to knock out my Heliolisk right now. And we can see after Heliolisk goes down here that she's actually Life Orb, which is very good to know. So she gets a little bit of chip damage. Now I'm going to bring in my Garchomp, and like I said, I'm just going to click Outrage. See what we can do here. So Outrage comes in. I know it knocks out the Hariyama from this range, because I know she's like, you know, Life Orb, not physically defensive or anything like that. Knocks out the Hariyama, so Garchomp picks up a kill, which is fantastic. But now I know the Crocodile's coming in, and I know Crocodile is going to get the Intimidate on me, and I'm not going to be able to do that much damage, but I'm hoping, praying, I can go for an E-Speed against it with my Entei, and then I can potentially get an E-Speed crit on Starmie and knock it out. I wasn't 100% sure, but I'm going to go for the Outrage here. Obviously, I'm locked into it. And we score a massive crit against the Crocodile. The Crocodile goes down. I break through the Intimidate with the crit. I knock out the Crocodile, and now all that's left is the Starmie. This game is not over yet, though. If Starmie has Ice Beam, it can still win. So, I'm going to click Outrage again. I get a 3-turn Outrage, which is awesome. In comes the Starmie. I click Outrage. At -1, it's not doing a lot, and I get confused. Starmie goes for Recover because she knows she cannot be in E-Speed range from Entei, otherwise I win. Now, I had a really tough 50-50 here, because do I predict the Starmie to click Recover, or does she click Scold? I'm going to switch out my Garchomp, not going to risk the confusion, and I'm going to go out and into my Entei. I was basically sacking it at this point, because she's most likely going to go for Scold, or Ice Beam if she has it. And she is actually going to go for the Scold, and she's going to knock out my Entei on the switch here. But I felt like it was my best play, because if she clicked recover there, expecting me to stay in and risk the confusion and go for outrage or whatever, then I could extreme speed her, get massive damage on, bring Garchomp back in and win with outrage. Now she's at very good HP. I know I can't knock her out with my Garchomp here. I am not at -1 anymore, so I know I can do more damage, but I'm not 100% sure how much damage I can do to this. So I'm going to click Outrage, see what we can do. If this army has Ice Beam, this game's over. If I don't knock it out, that's physically defensive. I don't do enough damage, but she doesn't have Ice Beam. She goes for Scold. Can we not get burned, please? We don't get burned, and now Garchomp is able, after the leftovers, Garchomp is able to come in with the subsequent outrage. We're able to knock out the Starmie, and that is a 1-0 victory for the Pittsburgh Pirattatas. Holy damn, that was close. Oh my goodness me. We pick up the 1-0 victory against the Accrington Stantler there. Oh boy, my heart was racing when we were playing that game. Jesus, that was absolutely ridiculous. GG to Ellie, that was a fantastic game. Couple of pointers, I guess I should point out. That crit on Crocodile absolutely won me the game, because Crocodile could have just won basically from that point. Like, I could have knocked it out with if I didn't get a crit on Crocodile. Crocodile could have subbed up against me. You know, it could have at -1 could have taken an outrage fairly comfortably. Could have potentially bulk-upped on me, expecting me to get confused, potentially, and then maybe taking another one. I'm not 100% sure on the rolls there, but we'd have to calculate that. It might have been able to sub on me. It could have just waited until I basically hurt myself in confusion, and then it could have been set up, and, you know, I couldn't have been able to touch it with Entei. Crocodile could have won it, potentially. Or she could have just knocked out my Garchomp. Entei could have come in, knocked out the Crocodile, but then Starmie would have been able to knock out the Entei. So it would have been a 1-0 in her favour. It just completely swung the momentum in my favour. Ellie still could have won that, though. Even with the crit on Crocodile, she still could have won that. If she'd have clicked Recover, as I went for Outrage the second time on Starmie, instead of going for Scold and risking the Scold burn, if she'd have clicked Recover, she could have won it. Because unless I crit her again, she would have won that. Because I couldn't do enough damage to her. She could just recover up until I get confused. Eventually I'd hurt myself in confusion. She could have scolded me down, and she would have won it. So that literally would have been her course of action, I feel, is to click Recover. She realised this as soon as we finished the battle. She was messaging me to say I should have clicked Recover and I should have won that, but she said she didn't want to be that guy to, you know, click Recover and stall out them on, but I would not have held it against her because it was her way to win the game, you know? So it's very fortunate for me that she didn't click Recover, because I managed to win because of that. But I felt like that was a really, really good game. I felt like both of our preps were pretty good. I was very happy with my Mega Sableye being able to knock out the Gardevoir exactly as planned. I was quite happy with my Scarf Garchomp coming through exactly like it needed to. My Heliolisk got some massive damage. My Entei got huge damage on the Zapdos and burned it. You know, everything basically did what it needed to. The Cresselia, even though it didn't do exactly what I wanted it to do, it still managed to, you know, prevent Crocodile from being such a massive problem. So that was pretty handy for me. I felt like everything did what it needed to, but again, I don't think it was my game to win. I think it was Ellie's game to lose, that she kind of... I wouldn't say she choked, per se, because... It wasn't necessarily a choke, but it was like, I think she could have made better plays at the end there. With recovering on Starmie particularly, and obviously I got very lucky with the crit. But there weren't too many crits in the game. I think I got one other one, which didn't really matter because she roosted that turn. It was just before the Entei Sacrified the Zapdos, and it went right back down anyways, so, you know, is what it is. Like, if I hadn't got the crit, things would have still been exactly the same. So I don't think it really matters. Yeah, it was just a really, really fun game. Like I said, my heart was absolutely racing when I was playing that game. When it got towards the end game, I was like, there's so many 50-50s involved here. Like, I could have made so many different plays, and so could she, expecting many predictions and stuff like that. I was fairly happy with my play at the beginning as well. Just staying in with Ferrothorn and expecting her to overpredict, and she did, twice, which was fantastic. And then I was like, is she bluffing? Does she even have Heat Wave? So I probably should have set up a substitute on the second one, rather than going for Leech Seed. But I should have been really cheeky there, but I didn't. But alas, you know, is what it is. But we come away with a 1-0 victory against the Accrington Stantler. very happy with that. That's the third time I've played Ellie in draft format, and it's the first time I've won. So let's hopefully, you know, we can build up a win streak against Ellie now. That'd be good. But next week, next week we are playing the team that are currently sitting in first place on the table. That is Steve and his Milwaukee Saucebucks. This is a game that I have wanted to play forever. I've wanted to play Steve in draft format since I heard of Steve, basically. So I am super pumped to play him next week. His team is scary as hell, and it's going to be really tough, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping I can upset his title hopes, basically. So, Steve, watch out, man. I'm coming for you. So, thank you for watching this game against the Accrington Stantler. I hope you've enjoyed. If you did enjoy this match, make sure to leave a like on the video, show your support to the Pittsburgh Pirattatas that I am representing this season. If you enjoy my content, you can, of course, subscribe. Make sure to go down in the description and check out links to the team builder video and to my opponent, Ellie. Thank you for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more PPL matches coming soon. Thank you for watching, and hopefully, I'll see you guys sometime soon. Toodaloo.